Hey guys, how's it going? So, over the past few weeks, I've caught tons of Pokemon with hidden abilities. And it is fun to catch them, but I have even more fun battling with them. So, I actually took 6 Pokemon you've seen me catch in my videos, evolved them in some cases, leveled them up, gave them some TMs, and I went to the Festival Plaza looking for 6-on-6 battles, which are pretty fun. It's a lot harder to find those than it was in Oris, so that's not good. But I did find a couple of them, and this battle was quite funny, so I thought I'd upload it. If you like, battle videos, I can post a few more, especially with Pokemon I've caught in my other videos. I think that's a fun little thing I could do, kind of like a hidden ability battle. So yeah, let's get started with this one. So it's Alolan Graveler with Galvanized versus Shiny Mimikyu, I should say. So I kind of figured Shiny Mimikyu would go for some sort of setup move, like Swords Dance or Bulk Up. So I go for Stealth Rocks. Now I am Focus Sashed, and I'm pretty bulky in health and defense. So I figured that I would survive whatever this Mimikyu threw at me. Usually it's like Shadow Claw, but this Mimikyu actually carried Wood Hammer. That's going to take me all the way down to my Focus Sash. But the good thing out of that is after recoil and life orb damage, that's already half the Mimikyu's health gone. So I go for Earthquake here. It didn't really matter which move I went for because Mimikyu's Disguise will let it take one attack for free. So I just need to get rid of Disguise. And this Graveler was pretty much done anyway. I don't have a Cussed Up Berry. It doesn't have Sturdy because it does obviously have Galvanize. And I'm going to go down to the Shadow Sneak. So it has Bulk Up, Shadow Sneak, Wood Hammer, and an unknown fourth move at this point. So I decided to go into Riolu with Prankster, and one of the really cool moves Riolu gets that gets boosted by Prankster is Copycat. So Copycat lets me use whatever move was last used, status or attacking. So last move used was Shadow Sneak, so I go for the Shadow Sneak, but unfortunately, due to my really terrible IVs in attack, I don't take it out. Luckily, I get a miss on the Play Rough, and I didn't really have anything else to hit this Mimikyu with, so I go for Copycat once again, and I use Play Rough. And although it shouldn't have taken it out, I get the clutch crit, and that's going to get rid of the Mimikyu. So the combined chance of me getting both a miss on the Play Rough and a crit is like 1.25%. So I can't complain about getting unlucky later in the battle. All right, so I wasn't thinking here, and I went for Copycat once again to try and get off a Play Rough against this Greninja, but unfortunately, Prankster moves no longer affect Dark Pokemon. Even though Copycat was going to copy an attacking move, it is still boosted by Prankster, so it'll have no effect against Dark Pokemon. So it's a nerf to Prankster, a buff to Dark Pokemon. So at this point, I know Toxic isn't going to affect it. The other moves I had on this were Counter and Final Gambit, so neither of those would have been very useful. And I didn't want to swap anything into this Greninja, so I just let my Riolu faint. And Greninja is going to power up with its Battle Bond and become Ash Greninja. Now, my team doesn't have the best synergy, so I figured the best thing to send out would be my defensive wall Executor with Harvest and a Citrus Berry. So the Greninja actually doesn't have a special move. It's going to use Aerial Ace, a physical move. So that was pretty lucky because it doesn't do too much damage. I have Energy Ball on this, so I go for the Energy Ball, and that's actually going to be enough to take out the Greninja, even though I have no investment in special attack. I guess it's just how, that's how strong base special attack is on Executor and how weak Greninja is defensively. So out comes this Incineroar, and I figure it's going to go for Flare Blitz, and there is no way I'm going to survive a Flare Blitz, even with all my defensive bulk. So I go into Pukumuku, because that'll take it pretty well, but instead of Flare Blitz, it goes for Leech Life. So kind of surprising there, but they do recover most of their health, which is pretty useful, kind of negating my Stealth Rocks damage. So there was, I believe, a commenter named Kevin, and I should have double-checked this before recording. They had a really, really great strategy with Pukumuku of Swagger, Psy-Up, and Baton Pass. So I decided, all right, why not go for that, and I missed the Swagger. So I didn't want to double up on the Swagger. I figured they would sort of know what I was doing, and I went for Counter this turn, but they actually withdraw their Incineroar, so I don't know if they predicted that. I doubt they did. But they go into Tapu Koko, and I was a little worried about this thing. There was a couple Pokemon in this team I was pretty worried for. Tapu Koko was definitely one of them. So I go for the counter. It fails, obviously, because it didn't attack. And this turn, I think I go for counter once again. Maybe like praying I live on very little health. but it's actually going to go for a special move, Electro Ball, which gets stronger the faster the Tapu Koko would be than my Pokemon. Pukumuku is really slow, and there's electric terrain, so I go down quite easily, even though that was my special defense wall. So now I have actually one regular ability Pokemon, my shiny Salazzle. It does have max speed, IVs, and a good nature for speed. I get off the Sludge Wave, and that is going to take out the Tapu Koko. In fact, I believe it's plus speed minus defense nature. I forget. I think is that hasty or hardy. I forget which nature that is. But I was pretty lucky with the nature and the IVs on this Salazzle. So Solgaleo comes out. This was the Pokemon I was pretty much most scared of on the team. I go for Flamethrower. Now, if I would have had a Life Orb, I think I could have taken it out. Instead, I had Bright Powder. But even with the Bright Powder and the 10% chance miss on Zen Headbutt, it doesn't miss. I know Bright Powder is kind of just like a gimmicky item, but I didn't have enough battle points for a second Life Orb, so... And then one of my Pokemon, as you're going to see, already uses it. So, Solgaleo's going to go for Sunsteel Strike, and this actually has a very long animation. That's why I switched into my Exeggutor. I only have 2 Pokemon left at this point, and Glaceon was not going to like a Sunsteel Strike. So I eat my Citrus Berry, recover a bit of health, and I once again go for my Energy Ball, and I figure it's already in the red. For sure it's going to be taken out, and it lives on like the tiniest bit of health, which was very not good. Although I do get a second Citrus Berry, so Harvest gives me a 50% chance to recover my Citrus Berry. Because I was still in the yellow, I eat my Citrus Berry, so that really mattered right there. If I didn't, I don't think I would have survived the Sunsteel Strike. And that pretty much would have been the battle, as this Exeggutor was a very useful part of my team. Or it might have survived on like the littlest bit of health. Either way, I get off the Energy Ball, and this time it takes out the Solgaleo. So I have Exeggutor, and it's going to harvest its Citrus Berry once more. And I have a Glaceon left, and they have their Incineroar and a Snorlax left. So the Incineroar comes out. I had really nothing to swap in. I figured at this point the battle is over. They're going to use Flare Blitz. I'm on half health. There is like no chance I live. But they use Leech Life, and I figured I would go down to this anyway, and I survive on exactly 1 health. So take that, Solgaleo. Now, I decided to go for the Sleep Powder here, and my reasoning was I probably wasn't going to live its next attack anyway, and if I did, why not just go for broke, right? Go for the attack that can turn everything around, and that only attack I could use that would turn everything around is Sleep Powder. So I get another Citrus Berry with Harvest. I eat the Citrus Berry and the Sleep, so I got 1 turn of Sleep, which was good. So I go for Leech Seed. I'm trying to get a bit more health back, as I'm going to need my Exeggutor to, not only take this out, but probably do a little bit of damage to Snorlax if I hope to win this battle. So I get some Leech Seed, recovery, and damage on the Incineroar. And so they sleep a second turn. I have Dragon Hammer, so this is a defensive wall mixed attacker. I forget which, I think it has the plus defense minus special defense nature. So you would never run something like that competitively, but when I'm just using Pokemon I caught in my videos, that's what you get. So Dragon Hammer does quite a nice chunk of damage. I get another Citrus Berry recover, so I will live another Leech Life. So, that was pretty lucky, and it sleeps for the maximum of 3 turns. So I couldn't have really asked for much more luck in this matchup. That Incineroar should have definitely taken me out, and because I got insanely lucky, I actually take out the Incineroar. Now, out comes Snorlax in the Cherish Ball, so I know it's the event Snorlax from earlier in the year, and Snorlax is actually going to use its Z-Power. So I haven't actually seen this Snorlax Z-Power before, and at first I felt pretty confident I would win this battle. Like what's Snorlax going to possibly use to take me out? But then as soon as I see those eyes, and I'm like, uh-oh, this isn't going to end well. Hey, Snorlax, miss? Maybe I have a nice yummy treat for you. You don't want to do that. No. Seriously, you don't want to do that. This is going to hurt you a ton. Oh, goodness. But unfortunately, according to Pokemon logic, that doesn't really hurt the Snorlax, but it definitely hurts my giant Exeggutor, and it has now fainted. So my last Pokemon is Troll, my Glaceon. I really like Glaceon, so this is a mixed attacker Glaceon. I have a few mixed attackers, max special attack, max attack with Life Orb, but unfortunately Snorlax does have thick fat, so it does like half the damage it normally would. It goes for Heavy Slam, and even though I have no investment in health or defense, I actually live, which I was surprised I did. I go for one more Ice Beam. I know I'm not going to take this out, even if Freeze wouldn't help, because I'm actually going to go down to Life Orb. So, although I don't win the battle, this battle was quite entertaining, or at least I thought so. So, why don't I go over my sets right now? So, we have, I mentioned Riolu's set was Prankster, Toxic, Counter, and Final Gambit. I led off with my Alolan Graveler, which had Earthquake, Return, Explosion, and Stealth Rock. Salazzle had Nasty Plot, Will-O-Wisp, Sludge Wave, and Flamethrower. Executor, you saw all the moves: Sleep Powder, Leech Seed, Dragon Hammer, and Energy Ball. Glaceon had Ice Shard, Ice Beam, Work Up, and I believe Hidden Power. And finally, Pukumuku had the set suggested in the comments: Psy-Up, Baton Pass, Swagger, and Counter. So that is everything. I hope you guys enjoyed this battle. If you did, please let me know, and I will post more of these, especially with Pokemon I catch in the future. So thanks for watching, and take care.